Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing, taking a look at the US dollar. We can see the US dollar dropped over the last few minutes today. Hit a nice little flush down today and to start the new day, nearing a dollar close on a low, which could be construed as very bearishness. Gold had a little bit of a down day after a very, very strong week last week. If we look at the banking sector, take a look at the banks. They've had a very nice bounce back after a very, very bad day and a very bad down day. And you can see Comerica Bank has been having a very, very rough, uh, very, very rough while. Look at this. They're getting near their 2009 capitulation, where they had a big capitulation right there. And you can see from the high of 2021, Comerica Bank is down 69.69%, and that is not good for Comerica Bank, as the Federal Reserve is sort of starting a capitulation into the banking crisis by taking a few set banks that they're going to back and guarantee funds that shouldn't be, while saying the smaller banks, the community banks, the more locally run banks will not have their funds covered if the funds are more than $250,000 from the FDIC protection. And that's starting to make people at the smaller banks uh, take out their money that is over $250,000 and putting it into a larger, more unstable bank at the moment. Even some of the banks that have filed bankruptcy and are bankrupt, they're putting their money into these banks because the government is backing the funds, and they're taking their money out of a fundamentally stable and fiscally sound small bank, locally bank, like credit unions, and they're pulling liquidity out of those banks, putting pressure on those banks that shouldn't be there. If somebody has $1 million in, say, a credit union, they're going to take $750,000 out and they're going to put it into one of these big banks that the government's saying if you have more than 250,000, they're going to they're going to back that money up, right? Why would you take the risk? And now a lot of banks that weren't in any financial problems are going to start to be in some financial problems because customers are pulling their money because of government oversight and regulation, where they're picking and choosing what banks they're going to cover all the funds for to essentially prop up that bank and say you're going to be the winner. And now the government is picking banks that are the winners, just like they pick corporations that they're going to say are the winners, and they leave everybody else out there to dry, like the small businesses and regional and local banks and local stores and local shops and local restaurants, right? While the big chains and the big stores and the big mega superplexes get bailed out and get the government money, right? And the taxpayer funds. It's a big shyster game, and we're not invited. But you can see with the XRP price, as I digress, you're getting a big consolidation now and a return rally with some falling volume, trying to make a run up at 51 cents. But with the falling volume, up and sideways consolidation, this is going to fall over on itself. And it's either does it get up here or does it start to whittle out? Now you can see how you had the big pump and a big move, and a nice move up, but a nice move down. Then he had a nice move up, and then he started consolidating at the price. A little bit of a move down, a little bit of a move up, but you can see the volatility is starting to slow down as the volume declines. I think eventually this is coming all the way back down here to retest at 37 cents. But at the first fall down, I think we're going to come down to the 200-day or the 100-day in blue really quick, come back up to like the 50, get rejected, and end up down here on the 200-day in green in the 2 or the 3 hour time frame. And then I think you might have a little bit of a pump back to the upside, where you could come back up into here and then get rejected and come down here, because I do think you're coming down to this 37 cents. And the next move in the XRP price, you can see the Bitcoin price continues, as we've been talking about since the great pump here. It's sort of trading sideways and having that rounding top. And what do we know about that rounding top in our super simple, easy way to trade this market in a probability based way? When you get a nice pump, with, if you look down here with the pumping volume, and then you start to trade up and sideways in sort of a rounding top with slowly falling volume, That shows you as you form a rounding top, the buyers or the bulls are being exhausted, and the sellers or the bears are taking over the market, and the price is going to come down. And I think you're going to eventually come back down to this $20,000, 19,000 and change, 19,069, and retest this major double bottom to try to hold. And maybe you would make another run back to a moving average that's falling down on itself in the 2 or 3 hour time frame here into the future, right? But at first, you might try to bounce where you're at now on the short term moving averages, maybe squeaking all the way up to 30,000 and then falling over. But I think you have a date with Destiny, and I think that Destiny is 19,049 and change. As we look at a little bit of a sexy Doge coin, still hasn't done anything. But look at Doge. We haven't looked at this in a while, but look at these lines that we've had on here. The falling wedge, and you can see right here we've hit resistance several times in the past. And you can see we're getting resisted on it right now. And what I'm thinking in the Doge coin is this is coming back down here. And I think in Doge, you have a date with 0.0535 in the short term, right? See that? I think that's where you're going down to. If we move this out here into the current time frame so we can see it, and then move that to the current time frame, I don't think you're getting anywhere near that 9 cents. I think that was a long time ago. The last time you hit there in February at the beginning, and then you had a major flush. I think that is the new trend, is the big flush, right? And I think that's going to continue to the downside in an up and down manner. I think Doge has a date with the 0.054 level, or the bottom part of the get my shit together, aka last line of defense to the shit house. Then you could have a little bit of a rally after you retest some of these prior lows back here in June, and then back here again in mid fall, October, November, right? So that's what we're looking like in Doge. A little sexy algo check in. We had a nice pump off of this old support, and again, this is an old support line. It was holding as major upper resistance in a falling wedge, resistance once, resistance twice in 2021, resistance 3 times in April 2022, resistance in a breakout finally in September 2022. Remember? And then we came back down. And look at this. We had big jaggedy price action in the daily time frame, and then notice how the price consolidates, capitulates, and then almost doesn't do anything in the daily time frame. See how big the moves were? Now look how close together. Look how big these moves are up here. Big wicks, big moves, big candle bodies. And then we consolidate with almost no movement. And then we flush. And then look at how tight the candles are. Very tight candles. And then we traded our way back up. And now we're coming back down again. But look where we touched the orange trading zone. And we're trying to hold it as support. But then these moving averages are crossing in a very bearish fashion with a falling volume. And we're getting rejected by the 50. And now you're going to retest this area that you were at right here. And if you can't hold this algo